There was a major shift inside the Eagles organization today, and it is the kind of news that quietly reshapes an entire offseason. Before most people even realize the ripple effect, Philadelphia is officially losing one of the most important voices on its defensive staff, as Christian Parker is heading to Dallas to take over as the Cowboys' defensive coordinator. This is not just a routine coaching move inside the division. This is a significant loss for the Eagles and a bold gamble by a Cowboys team that is desperate to stabilize one of the worst defensive units in football from the previous season. Parker had been serving as the defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator in Philadelphia, roles that placed him at the center of one of the most dominant defenses in the league. The Eagles' defense was disciplined, connected, and fundamentally sound, especially in the secondary, and Parker's fingerprints were all over that progress. Dallas, on the other hand, was disorganized, sloppy, and consistently burned by explosive plays. Pressure packages failed, coverage assignments broke down, and red zone defense was unreliable. The Cowboys made a necessary change by moving on from their previous coordinator, and in doing so, they targeted one of the fastest rising defensive minds in the league. From Dallas' perspective, the urgency makes sense. Going into the upcoming season, there is real pressure on the coaching staff to show immediate improvement, particularly on defense. Another year of breakdowns and missed assignments could put multiple jobs in jeopardy. Bringing in Parker is a swing for upside. He is young, highly respected, and viewed across the league as a future head coach candidate. Inside the Eagles' locker room, his reputation was crystal clear long before this move became official. Defensive players consistently pointed to him as one of the primary reasons their development accelerated so quickly. That reputation is not built on hype alone. Parker played a major role in the rapid rise of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, two players who did not just adjust to the professional level, but dominated it. Both entered the league as young starters and quickly became foundational pieces of the top overall defense in football. Their growth was not marked by extended struggles or painful learning curves. Instead, they looked comfortable, confident, and technically sound almost immediately, which speaks volumes about the coaching behind the scenes. Mitchell, in particular, was a rare case of a rookie corner stepping into high-level matchups without blinking. From the very first game of his career, lining up against elite speed and physicality, he showed poise that is usually reserved for veterans. Throughout the season, whether he was matched up against true number one receivers or shifting roles based on game plan, his consistency never wavered. That foundation only strengthened in his second year, when he elevated his play to an elite tier and earned top individual recognition. Parker's influence was repeatedly credited by Mitchell himself, who openly acknowledged how critical that guidance was early in his career. The same can be said for DeJean, who also flourished under Parker's instruction. His transition to the professional game was seamless, and his versatility became a weapon within the defensive structure. When players publicly state that they would not be the same without a specific coach, that is not coach speak or empty praise. That is a reflection of trust, teaching, and daily accountability. Losing that presence impacts far more than just a position group. It changes the identity of a defense. For Dallas, the move carries risk. Parker has never called plays as a defensive coordinator at the professional level, and stepping into that responsibility within one of the most scrutinized organizations in sports is no small task. However, his background provides reassurance. He comes from a system rooted in structure, discipline, and adaptability, and he has worked alongside elite defensive minds who value preparation and situational football. His track record of player development is already proven, and Dallas is clearly betting that his ability to teach and connect will translate to broader control of the entire unit. For the Eagles, this departure creates immediate holes on the coaching staff. They are now tasked with replacing not just a defensive backs coach, but also a key architect of their pass defense. The timing is less than ideal, as the team is already navigating an off-season filled with critical decisions on both sides of the ball. Continuity has been a strength for this defense, and maintaining that standard will require a thoughtful, precise hire rather than a rushed decision. There are multiple directions Philadelphia could take. One option is looking externally for someone with proven experience coaching defensive backs at a high level. Another is promoting from within, trusting the internal development pipeline that has already produced strong results. The organization values familiarity with its system and language, and that could play a major role in how this unfolds. Internal candidates already understand the expectations, the terminology, and the standards that have been set over the last 2 seasons. What makes this situation even more complex is how it intersects with other coaching movement around the league. Changes elsewhere can quietly remove potential candidates from the market or redirect top offensive minds toward new opportunities. Philadelphia is not operating in a vacuum, and every major hire across the league reshapes the board. The Eagles must now balance patience with urgency, knowing that the wrong move could disrupt a defense that has been one of the league's defining units. This is the kind of loss that does not fully reveal itself immediately. It shows up months later, in communication breakdowns, slower development curves, or subtle declines in technique. The Eagles still have elite talent, and the foundation of the defense remains strong. But coaching continuity matters, especially in the secondary where trust and timing are everything. Replacing Christian Parker is not about finding someone with a similar resume. It is about finding someone who can sustain the same culture of growth, accountability, and precision that he helped establish. As Philadelphia processes the impact of losing such a central figure on the defensive staff, the conversation naturally shifts to what comes next and how the organization responds without losing momentum. This is not just about filling a vacancy. It is about preserving a standard that was built through detail, repetition, and trust. The Eagles' defense over the last 2 seasons played with clarity. Responsibilities were clean, communication was sharp, and young players were empowered rather than protected. That environment does not happen by accident, and it puts pressure on the next hire to step in seamlessly rather than reset the room. One of the challenges for the Eagles is that Christian Parker was not simply coaching technique. He was heavily involved in game planning, adjustments, and the overall structure of the pass defense. He helped bridge the gap between scheme and execution, making sure that what was installed during the week translated cleanly on Sundays. Losing that voice means someone else must now take on that responsibility, and the margin for error is smaller when expectations are championship level rather than developmental internally. The Eagles have options they trust, and that matters. Promoting from within would allow the defense to maintain its language and identity, which is especially important in the secondary where communication and chemistry are critical. The safeties and corners operate as a unit, not isolated positions, and continuity often shows up in how quickly players recognize route combinations and adjust on the fly. An internal candidate already understands how those pieces fit together and how the coaching staff collaborates during game weeks. At the same time, there is always temptation to look outside the building, especially when a coach departs for a division rival. Bringing in an external voice can introduce fresh ideas and new perspectives, but it also comes with adjustment costs. Teaching style, terminology, and expectations all take time to align. And that time is limited during an off-season that already includes roster turnover and schematic tweaks. The Eagles' front office has historically valued stability when it works, and this decision will test how committed they are to that philosophy. What complicates matters further is the broader coaching carousel around the league. High-profile hires elsewhere create domino effects that can quietly reshape availability. Offensive coordinator roles opening up in other organizations can pull top candidates away before Philadelphia even has a chance to finalize interviews. That dynamic matters because the Eagles are simultaneously evaluating changes on offense, meaning resources and attention are being split across multiple critical decisions. This overlap is not ideal, but it is reality in a league where timing often dictates outcomes. A defensive-minded head coach taking over another team can suddenly create an attractive offensive coordinator opening that draws interest from candidates Philadelphia might be targeting. Every move across the league narrows the field, and waiting too long can mean settling rather than selecting. The Eagles must weigh whether to move quickly to secure their preferred option, or allow the process to play out in hopes that the right fit emerges. Another layer to this situation is the expectation placed on the players themselves. Young defensive backs who thrive under Parker will now be challenged to take more ownership of their preparation and communication. Veteran leaders in the secondary must help bridge any gaps that arise during the transition. While coaching is critical, player leadership often determines how smoothly change is absorbed. The Eagles have a locker room that believes in its identity, and that belief can stabilize things during periods of adjustment. From a strategic standpoint, the Eagles' defense has reached a point where it is no longer surprising opponents. Teams will spend the offseason studying tendencies, searching for weaknesses, and designing counters. Maintaining an edge requires both evolution and discipline. The next defensive backs coach and pass game coordinator must be capable of building on what already exists, while adding subtle wrinkles that keep the unit unpredictable. That balance is difficult, especially without disrupting what already works. Meanwhile, across the division, Dallas is betting that Parker's teaching ability can translate into organizational change. The Cowboys' defense struggled with fundamentals and situational awareness, issues that coaching can directly influence. If Parker can bring structure and accountability, Dallas could see immediate improvement even without a massive talent overhaul. That reality adds urgency for Philadelphia, because the division landscape can shift quickly when coaching gaps are closed. The emotional aspect of this departure should not be overlooked either. Players form real bonds with coaches who invest in their growth, and losing that connection can be jarring. How the Eagles address that emotional side, reaffirming trust and clarity, will matter just as much as the technical replacement. Communication from the top down will play a key role in ensuring that players remain confident in the direction of the defense as the offseason unfolds. Every practice installation, every coaching hire, and every subtle adjustment will be evaluated through the lens of whether Philadelphia can maintain its defensive dominance. The talent remains elite, the system is proven, and the organizational vision is clear. But sustaining success in the National Football League requires constant alignment. The next steps the Eagles take will quietly shape not just the upcoming season, but how this defensive core continues to grow together without the coach who helped launch so many of their careers. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most intriguing developments of the NFL offseason, whispers are circulating that TRISTAN WIRFS, the towering offensive tackle who has made a name for himself with his dominance in the trenches, has tentatively agreed to join the Philadelphia Eagles. While nothing has been officially confirmed, multiple sources close to the situation hint that discussions between WIRFS and the Eagles front office have reached a positive turning point, suggesting that the player's future could soon be green and white. TRISTAN WIRFS, known for his combination of size, athleticism, and technical proficiency, has been one of the most coveted offensive linemen in recent years. His ability to anchor a line and provide consistent protection for quarterbacks has earned him accolades and made him a cornerstone player in any team's roster. The mere possibility of him donning an Eagles uniform has sparked excitement among the fan base, who are always eager to see their squad strength on one of the most critical areas of the game. Sources hint that the discussions have been intensive, with the Eagles front office reportedly emphasizing their commitment to building around WIRFS. The team's offensive line, which has shown flashes of brilliance but also bouts of inconsistency, could see a dramatic shift in both performance and morale with the potential arrival of such a high-caliber talent. Coaches are said to be enthusiastic about the matchup advantages WIRFS could create, particularly in the run game, where his blend of power and agility would be immediately noticeable. League insiders suggest that the speculation around WIRFS to the Eagles is more than idle chatter. The players' camp is reportedly intrigued by the team's vision, the offensive scheme, and the opportunity to compete at the highest level. If the deal comes to fruition, it could signal a broader strategy by the Eagles to aggressively reinforce their roster, aiming to balance star power across positions rather than relying solely on marquee skill players. As with all high-profile rumors, the final decision remains uncertain. Negotiations could shift at any moment, and the NFL is known for its last-minute surprises. Still, the possibility of TRISTAN WIRFS lining up on the Eagles' offensive line has already set social media ablaze, with fans dissecting potential formations, imagining dominant trenches, and speculating how this addition could reshape the team's identity. Whether this rumor solidifies into reality or remains a tantalizing what-if, the buzz around WIRFS in Philadelphia is undeniable, making it one of the off-season's most captivating stories. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.